final fall of the last pocket of holdouts, Soviet troops move into the bunker, and they confirm not just the fall of the Third Reich, but the death of Adolf Hitler himself.
Adolf Hitler, the dictator behind one of the darkest chapters in modern history, has long been the subject of countless rumors surrounding his death. Known for orchestrating the Holocaust and plunging the world into the devastation of World War II, Hitler's demise in a Berlin bunker in April of 1945 is one of the most infamous episodes of the 20th century. Yet, despite the official story, wild theories have flourished for decades. New scientific analysis of Hitler's remains may finally settle the debate. The official account.
Hitler was briefed that his army could not counterattack, that the war was essentially lost, and he had a complete meltdown in the bunker. By April 29th, he was clearly contemplating suicide.
As the Allies closed in on Berlin in late April 1945, Hitler remained holed up in the Führer bunker beneath the Reich Chancellery. He had just witnessed the brutal execution of fellow Axis leader Benito Mussolini, whose body was strung up in a public square. Fearing a similar fate, Hitler made meticulous preparations for his own death. He dictated his final will and political statement, married Eva Braun in a brief civil ceremony, and tested cyanide capsules on his dog, Blondie, to ensure their effectiveness. On April 30th, 1945, Hitler and Braun retreated to their private quarters. What followed has been etched into the historical record. A gunshot was heard, and Hitler's staff discovered his lifeless body slumped on a sofa with a bullet wound to the head. Braun was beside him, apparently having ingested cyanide. Their bodies were hastily burned in the garden above the bunker, as ordered by Hitler himself. Soviet troops discovered the charred remains shortly after. The Soviets took possession of what little was left: bone fragments, dental remains, and some shrapnel-laced skull pieces. These were kept hidden for decades in Russian archives, adding an air of mystery and suspicion to the case. The USSR was reluctant to confirm Hitler's death definitively, and in the fog of Cold War politics, conspiracy theories began to take root. Still, Western intelligence agencies, including the CIA, accepted the story of the Berlin suicide as historically accurate, based largely on the corroborating dental evidence provided by Hitler's personal dentist and aides. Despite this, doubts persisted, in part because of the Soviet Union's secrecy and in part because of the inconsistencies in early reports. Hitler's missing body fueled generations of speculation, making it fertile ground for myths and legends to thrive. The forensic evidence.
But if Hitler didn't die in Berlin in 1945 when and where we were told, what happened to him?
In 2018, more than 70 years after Hitler's death, a team of French researchers was granted unprecedented access to fragments of his remains, including parts of his jaw and dentures. The analysis, led by forensic anthropologist Philippe Carlier, aimed to put an end to the conspiracy theories by applying modern science to the long-held mystery. Their findings were published in the European Journal of Internal Medicine and left little room for doubt. The researchers confirmed that the teeth were indeed Hitler's, matched precisely against his dental records that had been preserved by his personal dentist. Charlier stated unequivocally, quote, "The teeth are authentic. There is no possible doubt. Our study proves that Hitler died in 1945. The teeth were heavily decayed, metal-laced, and lined with white tartar, but notably lacked any meat fibers, an odd but consistent detail given that Hitler was a known vegetarian. The dental analysis also offered clues about the exact cause of death. While traces of gunpowder were not found, suggesting the shot did not go through his mouth, the configuration of the skull fragment, with a hole on the left side and blackened charring around the wound, indicated a shot to the temple or forehead. More intriguingly, the researchers found bluish deposits on Hitler's dentures, suggesting a possible chemical interaction with cyanide. Charlier concluded that Hitler had most likely ingested cyanide and then shot himself. Quote, "We didn't know if he had used an ampule of cyanide to kill himself or whether it was a bullet to the head. It's in all probability both." While the exact sequence remains uncertain due to cremation damage, the dual-method suicide theory aligns with long-accepted accounts. The French team's access was limited. They were not allowed to take samples from the skull, but the morphology was consistent with X-rays of Hitler's skull taken a year prior to his death. This autopsy analysis significantly strengthens the case that Hitler died in the bunker in 1945, not in exile. The conspiracies.
Adolf Hitler's death certificate is not issued until 1956, 11 years after his death. And that's really because there wasn't a body to identify, and there was a lot of confusion in Berlin at that time and in Germany as it's trying to rebuild. So it wasn't a priority.
Despite mounting scientific evidence, conspiracy theories about Hitler's survival persist to this day. One of the most enduring legends suggests that Hitler escaped Berlin via a secret tunnel and boarded a U-boat bound for Argentina. Supporters of this theory point to the large German diaspora in South America and the known presence of other high-ranking Nazis who were smuggled out of Europe after the war through rat lines. In 2009, the theory gained new traction when an American study on a skull fragment held in Moscow concluded that it actually belonged to a woman aged between 20 and 40, not Hitler. Though the fragment in question was not part of the dental set examined in the 2018 French study, the revelation cast doubt over Soviet claims and reignited questions among skeptics. Former CIA agent Bob Baer added fuel to the fire in 2025 when he claimed that newly declassified documents and Argentine archives could reveal that Hitler escaped and lived in exile. Baer pointed to a 2015 archaeological dig in Argentina's Misiones province, where German World War II-era coins and Nazi relics were unearthed. He told the Daily Mail, "If you were going to hide Hitler, that's where you'd do it." There have also been claims of hidden Nazi compounds with electricity, plumbing, and infrastructure that would suggest long-term occupation. Too elaborate, some argue, to be intended for low-level fugitives. Others refer to declassified CIA documents that show American intelligence tracked rumors of Hitler's escape for years, even if they ultimately concluded he had died in the bunker. Why the myths persist.
Without the presence of physical evidence, because in 1956 there was no dead body to stand over.
The enduring belief that Hitler may have escaped is as much a cultural phenomenon as a historical one. Movies, novels, and documentaries have sensationalized the idea of a secret escape. Films like The Boys from Brazil and even satirical comedies like Iron Sky have toyed with the notion that the Nazi leader evaded justice. But beyond fiction, real-world misinformation campaigns contributed to the confusion. After the war, Soviet authorities were deliberately vague about what they had recovered. Stalin himself reportedly told Allied leaders that Hitler might have escaped. This ambiguity helped shape early narratives that something was being hidden from the public. Nailing the coffin shut.
Maybe his ghost will turn up someday and give a repeat performance of those balcony rantings, now the delight of Allied soldiers.
The forensic analysis carried out by Charlier and his team may finally close this chapter. Unlike previous accounts based on hearsay, this study presents verifiable scientific evidence grounded in physical examination. The teeth, long held in Russian hands and verified through cross-checking with wartime X-rays, leave little room for doubt. No escape theory has produced a living witness, credible documentation, or physical evidence to rival what is now confirmed. The combination of cyanide evidence and the skull fragment showing a bullet wound aligns with long-standing accounts from Hitler's staff and surviving Nazi officials. The study even addressed some of the fringe claims head-on, debunking the idea that Hitler had fled by emphasizing the authenticity of the remains. Quote, "He is not in a hidden base in Antarctica or on the dark side of the moon," Charlier said pointedly. Importantly, the new autopsy doesn't just verify death, it adds clarity to how Hitler died. It confirms that he likely used cyanide and a firearm simultaneously or in quick succession. The absence of powder burns in the mouth rules out a self-inflicted shot there, instead supporting a temple or forehead shot. Now it's time to hear from you. Why do you think theories persist about Hitler's death, even in the face of overwhelming forensic evidence? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.